Hey guys, and welcome to another episode in the continuing saga that is Gamer Nation. I'm Jessamyn, this is Jaeson, and today we have a show full of epic battles between good and evil, like the game Beyond Good and Evil. We also have Fable, Dungeons and Dragons, and Tiger Woods 2004.
How's Tiger Woods 2004 an epic battle?
Have you ever tried to get to the 18th hole on Pebble Beach?
No, but besides playing epic adventure video games, have you ever tried playing the new N-Gage?
Touche. Yeah. But that reminds me of our feature today. We have a head-to-head of two portables. In one corner, we have the Game Boy Advance SP, and in the other corner, we have the new upstart from Nokia, the N-Gage.
But before that, we're going to kick it off with some reviews, so check it out.
Beyond Good and Evil, the latest action-adventure from the same folks who brought us Rayman, continues in the video game tradition of following a hot female reporter. This time, it's an aspiring photojournalist out to expose a vast conspiracy. I'm here with Justin to do a little exposing of his own.
Jessamyn, this is a T-rated game. I'm ashamed of you. At any rate, Beyond Good and Evil is the latest game, like you said, from people who gave us Rayman 3. That's Ubisoft, and specifically Michel and Cell. Now, this game actually shares a lot with Rayman 3 as far as sort of the look and the feel. It's got kind of this weird French fantasy thing going, but it's actually really, really good. This is one of the best-looking games to be out for years and years. I would say it's probably the action-adventure game of the year.
The war has arrived at the gates of General Jack, Supreme Commander. Join the Alpha Sections.
Tell us a little bit about the graphics and the gameplay.
Well, now, the graphics themselves, from a technical standpoint, aren't that great. They're about average for the PS2, a little bit better. But where the graphics really shine is just in the creativity of the art and the world that's around you. It's just, it's gorgeous. What can you say? It looks like you're watching a really well-designed animated movie. Now, the gameplay, in a lot of ways, it's sort of your typical action-adventure platformer type thing where you're running around, you're solving quests, beating up bad guys. But it also works a little bit like Zelda did, where minor tasks like jumping and pushing stuff, you don't have to press a button. You just walk up to something and then, like say you walk up to a ledge. If you can jump, then Jade will just jump for you instead of having to, push the jump button and see what happens. It sounds like it's kind of easy, but it really works very, very well and helps keep the game going along at a good pace.
And Jade's the lead character, right?
Right. Jade's the lead character. She's the photojournalist who's out to expose this alien conspiracy that's, tearing her world asunder or something like that. And then her sidekick is Paige, a cute little fat pig.
I know that Jaeson has some questions from the fans, so let's go to him.
Thanks, Jessamyn. Here's the next email question. The question is, how much free roaming is allowed in this game? The demo seemed open, but it is misleading from something that may be a linear experience. This is XBob42 all the way out in San Jose, California.
Now, that's kind of hard to say. It's actually a lot like the Final Fantasy games, where the main plot of the game is very linear. After I go here, I have to go here, then I've got to do this, this, and this. But the world is big enough, and there's enough extra stuff you can do that if you want to stray off the main quest, you can do that. You can go search for pearls or bet money in the bar and that sort of thing. And it feels less open-ended than it really is.
So what would you rate this game?
I would say it's absolutely a must-buy. If you're an action-adventure gamer, this is the best game in years. Go buy it. Kill somebody if you have to, whatever it takes.
Great. So through all our exploration, we got a big must-buy. Well, it turns out the National Enquirer was right. Elvis isn't dead. Return of the King is an epic action-adventure that follows Elvis on his blood-soaked quest to regain control of... What, it's not about Elvis? Oh, it's EA's next installment on the Lord of the Rings series. Oh. Whoops. Well, I'm here with IGN.com editor Doug, a notorious hip shaker. Doug, what do you think of this Elvis-free Lord of the Rings game?
I'm really glad Elvis is not in it. The fact is, this is a great action game. This is a hack-and-slash game that's built around an old arcade game design. And basically, you can play as about 6 different characters in the game. Before, you can only play as 3. Now you can play as Gandalf, Frodo, and Sam. You've got a bunch of different moves, and you've got an interactive environment. So instead of just walking around in sort of these narrow paths, you can actually pick spears up, use catapults, and do things that make you more involved.
Are there any spoilers in the game?
Well, the movie is, the game is a spoiler because it tells you what happens in the movie. But there's not a whole lot of footage in there that really gives away anything from the movie that you wouldn't already know. And again, the books have been out for more than 30 years, so, you know, if you haven't really read the books yet.
How does this compare to the last game?
Far bigger, far better. The best thing about this game is the sound.
I cannot harm a ghost.
It's THX certified, which means the sound quality is really good. And there's just explosions and things splintering and flying all over the place all the time. And the voice effects, the voiceovers, you know, are all done by the actors in the movie. So it's a very genuine art.
Back here at the Alienware email station, the question is, how do you account for Lord of the Rings licensed movie tie-in game coming off so well and Enter the Matrix coming off in many people's mind like really, really bad? What steps made the difference? This is from Maximize all the way out in Redondo Beach, California.
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. EA designed this game in-house, and they used game designers to make it. So it's using a little bit more of a simple concept, but basically the game designers made it. With the Matrix movie game / thing, they really had a lot of, the script came from the movie guys. And the game was really influenced by the movie, so they're very particular about how that thing was made. What that means is that there was more movie-making involvement and movie people involved in it, and less gamer involvement, sort of game designers' involvement, and I think that really had an effect on it. So the EA game's, you know, a better game because it was, these guys know how to make games really well.
Okay, Doug, what's the official Doug rating?
I didn't know it was an official Doug rating, but the official rating on this game is it's a must-buy, especially if you like the movies. Otherwise, you know, it's a really good game. And you should probably get the PS2 version because, again, EA made that online so people can play a co-op version online.
Well, you heard it. We got a must-buy for Return of the King.
World of video gaming, and I'm here with a brand spanking new cheat for Tiger Woods 2004. Unfortunately, it won't make him run off to Vegas, marry me, and live happily ever after and have wonderful little golf prodigy babies. But it will help you unlock every single player and course in the game, so stick around because I am going to fill you in. Thanks for sticking around. Did you miss me? Or were we just waiting for this Tiger Woods 2004 cheat? Yeah. Well, here it is. Okay, all you have to do to unlock the players and courses in the game is type in the kitchen sink with no spaces in between, and you'll come up with a bunch of players and courses to choose from.
To be number one, you gotta beat the best.
As if anyone could replace my tiger. Mrs. Tiger Woods.
If there's one thing that the Xbox needs, it's love. But if there's another thing that the Xbox needs, it is a good arcade-style flying game. Crimson Skies is Microsoft's attempt to fill this hole in the Xbox library. I'm here with editor for IGN.com, Aaron, to ask, Aaron, is this the game to own for flight enthusiasts, or will it crash and burn like so many other Microsoft first-party titles before it?
Well, Crimson Skies is the Xbox Live game that should do for flight enthusiasts what MechAssault did last year for shooter fans. This game is set in an alternate version of the United States where the automobile never made it. Everything is in the air. Everyone has an airplane. There's all kinds of crazy sky pirates going on. The unique aircraft designs are really something special about this game. They're very detailed. They're not very aerodynamic, but they're very interesting to look at nonetheless.
That's it for the trucks. Land and use our forward gun to clear the blockade.
But the main point of this game is the Xbox Live multiplayer option or elements of the game. You can play Wild Chicken, which has you taking this rubber chicken on the wing of your airplane all over the environment. You have capture the flag, you have team keep away, lots of different multiplayer options you can play. And a lot of the same things you can do in the single player game, you can do online as well when you're playing against your buddies. So really, there's a lot of good value here.
Well, let's see if Jaeson has any questions from the viewers.
Thanks, Jessamyn. Back over here at the Alienware email station with my Area 51 laptop. And the question is, I know the multiplayer mode is supposed to be good, but how about the single player mode? This is from Top Gun Tom all the way out in Fiji Island.
The single player mode is actually very good. There's not that many environments, but you get the whole explanation of why the United States has crumbled, why there's no infrastructure, and really who rules the sky. So you get a really good storyline with mad scientists, evil corporate henchmen, all kinds of stuff going on like that. The main character's an Indiana Jones type character, so lots of good stuff going on in the main campaign mode.
So, Aaron, what would you review it?
I'd have to say this is a must-have for this holiday season, and if you have an Xbox Live subscription, you better have this game.
Wow, a must-have. That is a lot of love for the Xbox.
Albion, a place of tranquility and peace. Where only the brave venture far. Afraid of the danger that lurks beneath. Civilization is under threat. Vast lands, tainted by an ancient evil. Evil so destructive that no one dares speak out.
Fable is being created by Big Blue Box exclusively for Microsoft's Xbox. The developers have promised us that Fable will be the greatest role-playing game of all time. Those are their words, not ours. As you progress through the game, you'll be confronted with several moral dilemmas that will have you choosing to walk the path of good or evil as you take your character from childhood to adulthood. The difference here is you'll actually see your in-game character changing his appearance. Evil players will develop dark features and scowls, while heroes will begin to shine with righteousness. It's similar to the system we saw in Knights of the Old Republic, but with far more interactivity. Everything you do has a moral consequence, and these consequences are reflected in your character and the game world. If you're a hero, little children will begin dressing like you and singing your praises. If you're a terrible evildoer, you may be attacked at any time for no reason. The game world is filled with other heroes and villains doing their thing as well, and so crossing their paths will yield appropriate, believable reactions. The only thing to worry about with Fable is its release date. The team making this game isn't known for on-time deliveries, and this game has been scheduled to arrive on Xbox, quote, when it's done, unquote.
Nintendo and Square fans, you're going to want to tune in for this one. We've got some news on a new Final Fantasy title, and it's exclusively for Nintendo GameCube. It's been about a decade since the franchise has appeared on Nintendo home consoles. The N64 got nothing from Square because there was some tension between the two companies. However, via a unique fund that Nintendo of Japan set up to promote GBA connectivity, the series is finally returning to Nintendo home consoles. But it's not in the traditional sense. This is not Final Fantasy how you'd imagine it. It's a completely new concept that revolves around GBA connectivity. So it's multiplayer focused, they want to get 4 people into a room, and combat takes place in real time. So this means that fighting is something more akin to like Zelda, and it shares some similarities with the Final Fantasy combat in the sense that you're going to be using a lot of the menus. You do a lot of management here. Spells mostly. You're going to be picking up spells as you go, reassigning them to buttons, and that's where the GBA comes into play. So, interestingly, you're going to need to use your GBA SP for this one since you're going to be inside and you won't have a lot of sunlight. And we're pretty excited about this one, even though it's not the traditional Final Fantasy title, because the multiplayer is pretty cool. So look for it when it ships in February 2004.
Primitive with Tack and the Power of Juju. If you're having trouble summoning all of your Juju to unlock all the extras in the game, I have a cheat that you are going to go cuckoo for. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Hey, I'm back, and it's time for some Tack. Tack and the Power of Juju codes, that is. Now, if you want to unlock every single thing in the entire game, all you have to do is enter this code while you're tacking away. Left, right, square, square, circle, circle, left, right. Return to the extras menu and you'll have all these new goodies. Now don't say I never got you in touch with your inner savage.
As promised, this is our feature on the head-to-head of portables. In one corner, weighing in at 5 ounces, we have the Game Boy Advance SP. In the other corner, weighing in at 4.9 ounces, we have the N-Gage from Nokia. I'm here with IGN.com editor Craig. Craig, tell us about these two systems.
Well, first things first, the Game Boy has been around for almost a decade and a half. 1989 is when the first Game Boy came out. Game Boy Advance is the latest in the handheld technology from Nintendo, so it's got a lot of support behind it. The N-Gage just came out. It's only about a month old, and it's from a company that's not familiar with video game systems at all. It's their first real gaming system, so you got that against it.
Tell us a little bit about the games that are available for each.
Well, on the Game Boy Advance, the actual technology has been out for about 3 years, and in that 3 years, there are about 350 games, both from Nintendo and third parties. On the N-Gage front, it's new. Not a lot of people are supporting it because it's new. You've got about 6 games at launch and about 10 by the end of the year. Who knows what's going to happen at the beginning of next.
How do the graphics compare on the two?
Well, Nintendo made the Game Boy Advance SP to be, financially available to all the, casual gamers. So they didn't put a lot of horsepower into the system, but that was, they meant to do that. With the N-Gage, they wanted to put as much as they possibly could to do it, but then again, the price tag really shows that. So in terms of technology, N-Gage has it over the Game Boy Advance.
And how about the multiplayer aspects on both of them?
That's the cool thing about the N-Gage. It actually has built-in Bluetooth, so you can actually play against another person 30 feet away against the same game. Or you can actually use its cell phone technology to call someone like halfway around the world and play it that way too. Tony Hawk's a good example of that feature. On the Game Boy front, you're actually stuck with 2 feet. It's a wired link, so you're pretty much stuck with being like nose to nose with the person you're playing with. So, but it actually has 4-player link, but you need to buy extra cables for it as well.
So what's your call?
My call is definitely go with the Game Boy Advance. It's got the support. Nintendo's backing it 100%. On the N-Gage front, it's $300, and the Game Boy Advance SP is only $100. And for $300, you can pretty much buy a Game Boy Advance SP, a GameCube, games for it. You've got it set where the $299 is just going to get to the system, and then you've got to buy the games as well. And you don't know if they're going to actually support the system well in the next year. So.
Thanks, Craig. I actually had a chance to take both these systems home and play with them. I liked the N-Gage. The only problem with it is actually getting to the point where you can play a game. You have to get this top off, and then you have to get the battery out. Then you have to get the game in, which is this tiny little card. Then you have to get the battery back on, and then you have to get this back on. And pretty much by the time you've done that, you've ran out of time to play. I have always had a fondness for the Game Boy, so I trust it. It's really easy. All you gotta do is just click the game in there and you're playing almost right away. Obviously, I share Craig's vote for the Game Boy Advance SP.
Dragons Heroes code that'll make you invincible. But this is only in the game and not in real life, so you probably shouldn't go jumping out of windows or anything after learning this cheat, because it probably won't save you. Hey, I'm back with that Dungeons & Dragons Heroes code that I know that you've been waiting your entire life, or at least a couple of minutes for. To become invincible, press L, Y, and A to access the cheat screen. Now type P-E-L-O-R to become impervious to all harm. That's all I have for you today, but I can't wait to cheat with you again next time on Gamer Nation.
Oh, sorry about that.
Right.
What can I say? I just love that old-time Mario rock and roll.
Commander, based on the intel report, this building looks like the rendezvous point.
I've been waiting for this pain.
Well, I guess we now know which portable is king. Looks like the oldies are still the goodies. I love my GBA.
Yeah, me too. And I hope you guys enjoyed our epic adventures today. Remember, we have 3 reviews that were must-buys today. Crimson Skies, Beyond Good and Evil, and of course, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. All 3 were must-buys. Make sure you guys check it out and get it.
And while I'm here beating my own record, you can check out our website at www.gamernationtv.com. Game over!
Main. Okay, pick it up. Okay.
Nose.
I'm here with IGN.com editor. I'm sorry. Greg.
Sorry.
5, 4, 3.
Sorry.
We had 3 must-buys today. The first one was what?
I don't know what.
www.gamernationtv.com. Gamer Nation is produced by Our Tribe Productions in association with IGN Entertainment.